Hello everyone, my name is Melinda Martin and I'm the Gallery Director here at Linden New Art. Welcome to the official opening of the exhibition that launches our 2021 program in the Linden Project Space this evening. Tonight I'm joining you live from the balcony at Linden New Art, while Juliet is joining us from inside the gallery space. We are thrilled to be presenting new work by Güler Altunbas in her exhibition Chrysalis, Recognition and Restitution. Tonight, of course, I'm joined by my co-host.
Hello everybody, my name's Juliet Hanson and I'm the curator here at Linden New Art.
And tonight, Güler will join Juliet in a conversation about her work and will share some insights into her practice, and you'll be amongst the first to see this brand new exhibition. A little warning, this exhibition and content of our conversation could be triggering for those who've experienced gender-based violence. For support, please contact 1-800-RESPECT and you'll see the number on the screen and website below, and Lifeline on 113 1114.
By now, we're sure you've attended a few virtual events from home, but we wanted to make sure that everyone feels welcomed and well informed about how this opening is going to proceed tonight. I'd suggest you grab a glass of something and some suitable snacks. But let's get started with some basics. Mel, can you tell us a little bit more about Linden New Art?
Certainly, Juliet. Linden's mission is to support brave new art by mid-career artists and engage visitors through inspiring, thought-provoking exhibitions of their new work. Our Linden Project Space was developed to provide opportunities for artists living and working in the city of Port Phillip and the south side of Melbourne to exhibit new work.
Tonight we're coming to you live on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're watching us live tonight and would like to make a comment, you'll need to log into the platform you're watching us from. We'd really love to hear from you. Simply click on the Say Something or Write a Comment box at the bottom of the live chat area to get started. If you're watching us through a TV, that's pretty clever, but chatting does get a bit complicated that way. So we do recommend that you chat through your computer, tablet, or mobile device.
And tonight I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we all virtually meet this evening. Both Juliet and I are joining you from the lands of the Yalukit Willem clan of the Bunurong people here in Melbourne. I pay my respects to their elders, both past, present and emerging. And while we meet virtually this evening, tonight draws upon the ancient history of this land and it reflects the millennia of experiences of First Nations people coming together to celebrate, to make art, to learn from each other and to connect. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all First Nations people joining us this evening. Let me introduce you to the artist Güler Altunbas. Güler is a Melbourne-based artist practicing in a variety of media, painting, drawing, sculpture, printmaking and digital technologies. She really throws her hand into everything. She's an extensive history and is an advocate for the prevention of violence against women and children, and she successfully brings her personal lived experience to her art practice, her public speaking events and her collaborations. Güler has exhibited across Melbourne and regional Victoria since 2010. Her recent exhibition highlights include small works at Brunswick Street Gallery in 2021, Ether for the Melbourne Fringe Festival in 2020, the A1 Darebin Arts Salon at Bundoora Homestead Arts Centre in 2020, and the Australian Muslim Art Prize at the Islamic Museum of Australia in 2019. I'd now like to welcome Güler for the acknowledgement of victims of gender-based violence.
We acknowledge the grief and loss, sadness and vulnerability of survivors and victims of family, gender-based and private violence. We commemorate children, young people, adults and older adults surviving who have died as a result of violence. Let us reflect on hope, courage and healing for victims, our community, and ourselves.
Thank you, Güler, for that powerful acknowledgement. Its acknowledgement has raised any concerns for you. Please reach out to 1-800-RESPECT or Lifeline, and those numbers and websites appear on our screen below.
Thanks, Mel. As we are virtual this evening, we've made a short video so that we can share the work in this powerful and remarkable new exhibition by Güler. I hope you enjoy having a look.
Güler, congratulations on your exhibition, and I really want to acknowledge your patience in working with us at Linden, because we were supposed to have your exhibition last year in 2020, but COVID got in our way, so we thank you for your patience in rescheduling to this year. I'd now like to introduce Leonie Lamb to officially open this exhibition. Leonie is the primary prevention practitioner in gender equality and preventing violence against women. For over the past 5 years, Güler and Leonie have worked jointly together to advocate and mobilise others to take action on beacon campaigns, the 16 days of activism to end gender-based violence. While Güler and Leonie have each continued to work on these issues individually in their own separate roles, they've kept in touch and they've collaborated and supported each other ongoing over the years. This is in response to the issue's continued demand for joint action and the breadth and depth of mobilisation that is really required on this issue. Most recently, this has included Güler's participation and contribution to And I Rise initiative, an empowerment capacity building program for advocates, activists, community leaders and spokespeople in gender equity and the prevention of violence against women. Let me join us in welcoming Leonie.
Thanks, Melinda, Juliet and the Linden virtual team. I wish to also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and waterways that I'm on today. That's the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and I wish to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I wish to acknowledge the continued impact colonisation has had on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and the role that this structural violence has resulted in violence perpetrated against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. At the same time of these structural injustices, I wish to recognise the unequivocal strength, ability and resolve of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women, past, present and launching. Thank you to Güler for inviting me to be your guest speaker this evening and support launch of her work that I know that she's worked hard on with passion and clearly, as Melinda has said, with deep patience to finally be able to share with you all tonight. I believe it was around 3 years ago that Güler shared with me that she was working on a series of large-size portraits focused on the issue and theme of gender-based violence. I was very interested in the idea and particularly the format or medium. Güler could harness so well different mediums to make these creative, impactful pieces on gender-based violence. I imagined it as a big effort and requiring commitment and stamina from Güler. Not only was it planned as 10 large-size portraits, but from my point of view as a primary prevention practitioner, it was on an issue that I know challenges us. Violence against women and children challenges us to understand and reconcile how power can play out negatively, even with lethality, as in resulting in a woman's loss of life. And it has no discriminations with its harms to any or all women, those who identify as non-binary, and to children. So gender-based violence isn't an easy issue to tackle. It's also not one we're meant to tackle alone, but there are many advocates, activists, spokespeople, as we know, as it is an issue that affects us all. Güler is one of those, a standout advocate and impassioned speaker on gender-based violence and private violence. And purely as an audience member, so stepping away from my practitioner role, I know she speaks her truth for herself, but further for others who identify through experience or vicariously, and those who are able to listen and be mobilised in ending violence against women. Through Güler's exhibition of works at Linden Gallery from today, I hope it reaches you as an audience or viewer in necessary ways that are different from words on a page or a news story on TV. I hope this different, necessary medium by canvas, print, and the arts wholly is thought-provoking, if not stirring into action for this issue. So, as in Judith Herman's excerpt, I'll just read, restoration between the traumatised person and the community depends first upon acknowledgement of the traumatic event and second, upon some form of community action. Given the times or not, if you seek change on this issue, I hope many attendees or viewers to Güler's exhibition feel clearer, further affirmed, or find further their community, the community within or supported by the arts, to recognise, seek restitution, and declare order and justice. So as it is described in the exhibition's introduction, Güler's series of portraits expressing conditions of gender-based violence such as silence, violation, encroachment, and, I think also importantly, resilience. As much as Chrysalis reflects that some conditions of gender-based violence we know can be crushing, for times like now, and so I mean the last 10 days to 10 months, I think we've heard loud in the Australian context, we've heard loud and clear the condition of resilience. This has transformed to marches for justice and enough is enough protests. So where conditions of resilience have transformed to liberation with enragement and or fire for change. It gives me thus great pleasure to open at Güler's invitation this important and long-awaited Chrysalis Recognition and Restitution exhibition.
Thank you so much, Leonie, for officially opening the exhibition and the significant work that you do in our community. It's with, if we don't have people like yourselves actually out there and creating a difference in our community, this is an issue that will for too long be swept under the carpet. So I really am very grateful for you making the time tonight to join us. I'd now like to bring Juliet and Güler back for a discussion about the work that's included in the exhibition.
Hello again, Güler. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Maybe I shall jump right in and begin by asking you to tell us a little bit more about what inspires you in your practice and what the key concerns are that are addressed in your work.
Yes, I would like to also make clear that my husband is sitting next to me and he's a wonderful, caring and gentle man, and he gives me strength to tell my story. So to answer the question is that my late dad always encouraged me and often reminded me that if someone throws you a knife, catch it and throw them back a rose. And earlier, I think you might have seen the bronze sculpture. In the hand, on the right hand of the bronze sculpture, I etched in with dental implements a rose to remind us all that things can happen, but we will actually, when bad things happen, we can always be kind to people around us. So the answer in the question is I'd like to invite people to contemplate and facilitate actions about social justice issues that are often swept under the carpet or put in the too hard basket. I'm wondering if we would conceptualize if an athlete or footballer to be murdered once a week, what would we do collectively?
Yeah, your work really, it raises such important concerns. The bronze sculpture was actually a commission, wasn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about how, the process of making that work and the commission?
Yes, so I collaborated with CoHealth to make the bronze sculpture. It's also aligned with making a space for people who have had violence against them, to make a space where it's safe to contemplate those sort of things. And I've got a website which has videos about the launch to the bronze sculpture. And
And it's titled Question Why. I think the
Yes.
form of it is fantastic, because you're explaining that it's a question mark, the form of that figure.
Yes, and it all started off over 20 years ago. I used to conceptualize it as a bronze sculpture, and I still have dreams about making it life-size. So it's about 35 centimetres by 20 centimetres. So, yes, I'd love to see it go further.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece. So as well as the bronze sculpture, I'm lucky enough now to be in the space, and I can see the majority of the space is taken up with a series of amazing self-portraits. And I couldn't help but think, given the subject matter of your work, that it may have been quite challenging to express yourself through self-portraiture, which can be a really involved kind of genre in itself anyway. When you're trying to depict yourself, it can be quite challenging. Did you find the process of depicting yourself challenging at all? Or
yes, I did. It's very connected to what I see every day in my mind, and I wanted to share that. So the process of making a self-portrait is familiar territory, like looking into the mirror. Yet I'm able to have control over which I didn't have control over, the traumas. And I feel that it enables and invites the viewer as an insider rather than an outsider.
And we can see from the film here, each of the self-portraits has a different colour. You're wearing a different coloured dress, and that's related back to a series of butterflies. Obviously, that relates to the title of the exhibition, Chrysalis. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about the idea of the butterfly and the colour and in the self-portraits?
Yes, the patterning and ideas about that was highly inspired by butterflies, and I thought it would bring aesthetics into a difficult topic to discuss. It's sort of more palatable the way it is, and so there's 10 of them, and they're all doing different actions and have their names to it. But the butterflies is always hope and for wanting change to occur.
I think that's it, isn't it? A chrysalis essentially is this capsule of transformation. Another symbol that recurs in your work in the show, and people can see this behind me as well in some of these digital prints, are feathers. I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about the symbolism of the feather in your work.
Thanks, Juliet. Yes, I'd like to say to the viewers that it was inspired by, it's called the Night of Power, which draws on my Islamic heritage, and together with my lived experience of gender-based violence, arise at a concept of repatriation and recovery, my gaining solace over the repercussions of physical and psychological injury. It inspires me to make the digital series, The Noor, permeating into the night. On a day unknown, the last 10 days of Ramadan is a night of power. The significance of this event is the attainment of power over your own future, whereby one's devotion equates to 1,000 months of worship, which adds up to 83 years and 4 months, and offers the believer forgiveness of past sins. On this extraordinary night, angels descend onto earth. There are more angels that evening than all the pebbles on earth. So that's where the symbol of the feather comes in to represent angels.
It's so beautiful. I remember the first time you were telling me about that, I'd really got goosebumps to think about there being so many angels, that there were more than all the pebbles on earth. It's a really amazing idea. For me as well, the idea of the rocks and the feathers, there's something in that contrast between weight and then lightness as well. Is that part of these works for you?
Yes. So we've got on one side the self-portraits of difficult situations, and on the other side, hope and a source of strength, a source of peacefulness. That's what that part is, that, you know, we can be mindful and create our future from our past, from difficult past. So we can all have take up that leadership in our own lives and in the community to think of things in a positive way.
That's amazing. Is that, I mean, I'm presuming that would be one of the things that you would like visitors to really take away from their experience when they come and see the show in real life. Is there anything else that you hope people might think about when they're looking at the work?
Yes, I also thought that we can all utilise our power and add to the big picture and challenge ourselves and community to be active in our actions and call out gender-based violence as we are, the listener and witness.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Güler. Thank you, and congratulations on such a powerful show. We're really proud to have this at Linden. And for anybody that would like to find out more about Güler's work, you can visit her website. It's www.güleraltunbas.com, and that is appearing at the bottom of the screen now. Thanks again, Güler. It was wonderful to hear more about your work.
Thank you for being interested.
Thanks so much, Güler. It's really interesting to listen to you discussing your practice. It was really interesting today when we had some people come through the gallery and just talking about the work, and everyone came away with this really lovely conversation about the feather and the story that you just told. It's such a beautiful kind of concept of this kind of lightness being on our earth as well. So it was really touching kind of to hear that today. Tonight, I would like to gratefully acknowledge the City of Port Phillip as the owner of our beautiful building home and generous support of our public programs, our education and our exhibitions. We're also grateful for the support we receive from Creative Victoria's organisational investment program, as well as Business Victoria. Many people work behind the scenes to develop and further invest in the artists and the exhibitions you see on display. Tonight, I'd like to thank our philanthropic supporters, the Helen McPherson Smith Trust, the Robert Selster Foundation, the Community Enterprise Foundation through Elwood Community Bank, the Telstra Foundation, our education partners, the University of Melbourne and Melbourne Business School, our corporate supporters, Matzo's, Minter Ellison, Punt Road Wine, Stone and Wood, Zilla and Brook, and our project partners who specifically have supported Güler in her exhibition with us tonight, Arts Access Victoria and the City of Port Phillip.
Such a great list there. Thank you, Mel. In early 2019, the great Australian artist Patricia Piccinini reflected how exhibiting for the first time at Linden was where the hustle began for her. So in the tradition of hustling, it's now my turn to talk about money. This is the bit where we ask you to support us if you're able to do so. We're offering this event online for free tonight, so everyone can enjoy it. But it takes a lot for our small team to produce this virtual event. So if you can, please think about supporting us. We suggest a figure of maybe $15 or $20 per person, and you could think about that as if you've bought a glass of sparkling wine or a couple of boutique beers this evening at the opening. And of course, if you'd like to add a few more zeros to those numbers, we would not say no to that. The link to donate securely online is at the bottom of your screen, and we'll place the link in the chat as well. We do need your support now more than ever, and we thank you in advance for your generosity. Thanks again for joining us tonight from home. We do look forward to welcoming you back to the gallery in real life so that you can see this important exhibition.
Thanks so much, Juliet. And to come and visit the gallery, you'll need to book a spot online. Those incognito mystery gallery visitors are off the table at the moment, as we need to capture the details for visitors attending the space for contact tracing purposes. The booking link will appear, and it is right now on the bottom of your screen. So if you haven't booked yet, jump in and bring some friends. Thank you for everyone who's joined us virtually in virtual streaming land tonight. I can hear the lorikeets behind me squawking, so I hope you're also enjoying the experience. Thank you to everyone who's been part of the virtual event tonight. I'd like to bring back everyone who's been part of the event and welcome back the Linden team who've been working behind the scenes at the gallery or from their own homes to respond to questions and queries in the live chat. Thank you to our curator and my co-host, Juliet Hanson. Thank you to Güler and Leonie for joining us as well. Thank you to our development manager, Lynn Johnson, who helps us find the money to be able to do what we do. Our design and marketing coordinator, Matu Vendiel, who is actually behind me, sneakily creating images, I think, for April Fools. Our gallery administrators, Chloe Hazelwood and Hannah Vasak, our volunteer officer, Ada Coxall, and our gallery assistant, Claire Neary. Thank you for joining me in this adventure of co-hosting, Juliet.
It's been fun. It's been interesting. The best thing about it is that I've been able to be sitting in the exhibition the whole time. So I've been, surrounded by Güler's amazing work.
Thank you to everyone joining us this evening. Our team looks forward to welcoming you to the gallery in real life. Good night, have a lovely evening, and we look forward to you having a lovely long weekend. We'll see you soon.